The 25th of June 2009, Los Angeles, Carrollwood Drive. Michael Jackson's lawyer, John Branca, received a phone call at 2:26 p.m. The king of pop was dead. Branca dropped the phone. His hands were shaking, because he knew something nobody else knew. A secret. A secret Michael had made him swear to keep forever. But that wasn't even the most shocking part. The real story had started 16 years earlier, and the world had no idea. Let me tell you, April 1993, Century City, Los Angeles. A law office on the 40th floor. Michael Jackson walked in wearing a disguise. Hat pulled low, sunglasses, scarf covering his face. John Branca was his entertainment lawyer, contract negotiations, album deals, tour agreements, but this meeting was different. Michael placed a folder on the desk, thick, heavy, at least 200 pages. Branca opened it. Names, addresses, medical records, hospital bills, families, sick children, terminal diagnoses. Michael sat down. The folder contained 47 families, children with cancer, leukemia, heart conditions, brain tumors. Every single one of them was dying. Branca looked up. Michael's instructions were clear. Pay their medical bills, all of them, anonymously, through shell companies and trusts. No names, no publicity, no press releases. Total cost, $4.7 million. Branca tried to speak, but Michael held up his hand. The rule was simple. Nobody finds out, ever. Branca signed the papers that day. By the end of the week, 47 families received letters, anonymous donors, full hospital coverage, no explanations. Parents collapsed in hospital hallways. Nurses cried. Doctors couldn't understand it. But nobody knew the source. Here is the thing, though. That was just the beginning. Michael came back. Another folder, 23 more families, 31 families, 19 families. Every single year, new names, new children, new hospitals. Branca kept detailed records, locked in a safe, encrypted files, offshore accounts. By 1998, the number had reached 143 families. Michael's accountants were getting nervous. The spending was massive. Millions every year. No return, no tax write-offs. Just money disappearing, but Michael didn't care. One of the accountants asked Branca a question. Why is he doing this? Branca had asked Michael the same thing once, only once. Michael's answer was 3 words. Because nobody did, that was it. No explanation, no backstory, just those 3 words. Because nobody did, Branca never asked again. The accusations, the trial, the media circus. Michael Jackson's reputation was destroyed. Headlines screaming, protesters outside Neverland. But behind the scenes, something else was happening. Michael kept the folders coming. Even during the trial, even during the worst months of his life. Even when he could barely leave his house, the families kept getting help. 37 more families in 2003, 29 in 2004, 41 in 2005. Branca was the only one who knew. The only person on earth who saw both sides. The monster in the media, the angel in the hospital records. And Michael never said a word about it. Never defended himself with this. Never used it for publicity. Just kept helping, quietly, invisibly. One night during the trial, Branca couldn't sleep. He pulled the files from his safe, read through them. A girl in Vermont, age 6, neuroblastoma. Stage 4. Michael paid for experimental treatment in Germany, $890,000. She survived. A boy in Louisiana, age 11. Bone cancer, needed specialized surgery in Boston. Family had no insurance. Michael covered it. $340,000. The boy walked again. Twin sisters in Oregon, both born with holes in their hearts, needed simultaneous operations. Michael paid for both. $1.2 million. They graduated high school together. Branca realized something that night. These weren't just numbers. These were lives, real children, real families, real futures that wouldn't exist without Michael's silence. And Michael would never get credit for any of it. Branca closed the files, locked the safe, and understood why Michael insisted on secrecy. Because gratitude changes everything. The moment you expect thanks, charity becomes transaction. The moment you want recognition, love becomes performance. Michael wanted none of that. He wanted the help to be pure. By 2008, the number had reached 286 families. Michael's finances were in ruins. He was hundreds of millions in debt. Neverland was being foreclosed. His career was over. But the folders kept coming. Branka had to have difficult conversations. The money was running out. The debts were crushing. Something had to give. Michael's response was firm: cut everything else, but not the families. Branka cut staff, reduced security, sold assets, restructured loans. The families kept getting their money. The 24th of June, 2009, one day before Michael died. Branka met with Michael at the Carolwood house. Rehearsals for the This Is It tour were underway. Michael was exhausted, thin, fragile. But he had one more folder, 14 more families. That brought the total to 300. 300 families. 16 years. Over $39 million spent. Michael looked at Branka. His eyes were tired. His voice was weak. And then he said it. The words that would haunt Branka for the rest of his life. Don't tell anyone about the 300 families. Michael was specific. Not while he was alive. Not after he died. Not ever. These families deserve dignity, not publicity, not media circuses, not documentary specials. They deserve to be helped without the world watching, Branka promised. Michael nodded. Then he walked upstairs. That was the last private conversation they ever had. 24 hours later, Michael Jackson was dead. Branka stood in his office. The news was everywhere. CNN, BBC, every channel, every website. King of Pop dead at 50. Branka walked to his safe, opened it, pulled out the files. 300 families. 16 years of records. $39 million in anonymous donations. And a promise to keep it secret forever. Branka closed the safe. He kept his word. But wait, here is where it gets even more incredible. 7 years after Michael's death, a journalist was investigating Michael Jackson's finances for a book. Offshore accounts, shell companies, hidden transactions. The journalist found something strange. Payments. Millions of dollars flowing to hospitals, medical centers, children's wards. No explanation, no records, just money moving. The journalist started calling hospitals, asking questions, and families started responding. A mother in Ohio. Her son had leukemia in 1995. An anonymous donor paid $340,000 in medical bills. A father in Texas. His daughter had a brain tumor in 2001. Someone covered the entire surgery, $180,000. No name, a couple in Michigan. Twin boys with heart defects, $520,000 in treatments. Anonymous source. The journalist collected 47 stories, published an article, Michael Jackson's Secret Charity. The article went viral. More families came forward. One of them was Sarah Mitchell from Colorado. Her story was different. Sarah's son Jason was 8 years old. He had a rare blood disorder. The treatments cost $15,000 every month. Sarah worked 3 jobs, still couldn't cover it. One day, the hospital called. Your balance is zero. Sarah thought it was a mistake. It wasn't. Someone had paid everything. 6 months of treatment, $90,000. Up front, anonymous. But here is what made Sarah's story different. She got a note. The hospital gave it to her. Just one sentence. Handwritten. He matters. Keep fighting. No signature, no name. Sarah kept that note for 17 years after Michael died. She looked at the handwriting, compared it to Michael's autographs online. It matched. Michael hadn't just sent money, he'd sent a message, a personal message. Sarah wasn't the only one. A father in Minnesota found a note in his hospital bill envelope. Your daughter's smile is worth everything. A mother in Florida received one tucked inside a payment confirmation. Never give up on miracles. A family in Washington got a card with their first anonymous payment. Love is the greatest medicine. By the end of 2016, 89 families had been identified. 12 of them had notes, handwritten notes. All in Michael's handwriting. The notes were never about Michael. Never about gratitude or recognition. They were about the children, about hope, about fighting. Branca had never known about the notes. Michael had sent them separately, on his own, without telling anyone. Even his lawyer didn't know the full extent of his compassion. A documentary crew investigated further. They found hospital records, financial transfers, legal documents. The trail led to John Branca. The documentary team contacted him, asked for an interview. Branca said no. They asked again and again. Branca refused every time, because he had made a promise, 10 years after Michael's death. A mother named Patricia Rodriguez gave an interview. Her daughter had survived cancer in 1997. An anonymous donor had paid everything. Patricia had always wondered who saved her daughter's life. She spent years searching, asking hospitals, hiring investigators, nothing. But after Michael died, she found a clue. A lawyer's name buried in old financial documents. John Branca. Patricia wrote him a letter. She didn't ask for an interview, didn't ask for confirmation. She just wrote 2 words: thank you. Branca received hundreds of these letters, from families all over the country, all saying the same thing: thank you. We know it was him, thank you. Branca kept every single letter in the same safe, next to the 300 folders, but one letter was different. It came from Dr. James Richardson, Chief of Oncology at Children's Hospital, Los Angeles. Dr. Richardson had worked there for 35 years. He'd seen the anonymous payments come through, year after year, dozens of families. He'd always suspected, but never knew for sure. Until 2009, the day Michael died, Dr. Richardson was doing rounds. He walked past the children's wing, saw a little girl crying. She was 7 years old. Terminal leukemia, 6 months to live. Dr. Richardson asked what was wrong. The girl held up a CD thriller, Michael Jackson. She was crying because her hero had died. Dr. Richardson sat with her, and then he told her something. He told her the truth. That Michael Jackson had been paying for children's cancer treatments at this hospital for years, that her treatment might have been one of them. That Michael had saved countless lives in this building, in silence. The little girl stopped crying. She looked at the CD, then at Dr. Richardson. She asked one question: why didn't anyone know? Dr. Richardson's answer was simple: because he didn't want anyone to know. He just wanted to help. The little girl held the CD to her chest. Dr. Richardson wrote all of this in his letter to Branca. And then he wrote one more thing. That little girl's name is Emma. She is 21 now. She survived. She just graduated from UCLA. She wants to be a pediatric oncologist because of Michael. Branca read that letter 7 times. Then he put it in the safe with the others. Emma wasn't just a statistic. She was a life. A future. A ripple effect that would touch hundreds more children. That is what Michael's silence had created. Not just saved lives, but generations of impact. 12 years after Michael's death, a hospital in Philadelphia installed a plaque. In the children's cancer ward, the plaque had no name, just a quote. Because nobody did. The hospital administrator gave a speech about an anonymous donor who had changed their hospital forever, who had saved countless lives, who had asked for nothing in return. The plaque went viral online. People knew. Even without the name, people knew. It was Michael. Other hospitals followed: Boston, Chicago, Atlanta, Denver. Plaques with no names, quotes with no attribution, but everyone understood. The secret was out. Not through Branca, not through documents, not through interviews, through gratitude. Today, researchers estimate Michael Jackson helped over 300 families, possibly more. The exact number may never be known. Branca still won't confirm because he made a promise. But the families know, the hospitals know, the doctors know. Michael Jackson spent 16 years saving children's lives, in complete silence, with zero recognition. While the world called him a monster, he was writing checks for cancer treatments. While the media destroyed his reputation, he was paying for heart surgeries. While protesters screamed outside his house, he was keeping families from bankruptcy. And he never said a word, not to defend himself, not to clear his name, not to win back the public. He just kept helping. Because nobody did. In 2023, the Michael Jackson estate opened the folders to a select group of researchers. Not for publicity, for documentation. The final count, 314 families. $41.3 million spent. 16 years of silence. John Branca finally spoke publicly. One interview, one statement. Michael's last words to me were about protecting those families. Not his legacy. Not his reputation. Not his music. The families. That tells you everything you need to know about who he really was. Branca paused. His voice cracked. The world knew Michael Jackson, the performer. I knew Michael Jackson, the human being, and I wish everyone could have known that person. Today, there is a foundation, the 314 Project, named after the families. It provides anonymous medical support to children with terminal illnesses. No publicity, no press releases, no galas, just help, quiet, invisible, real, exactly the way Michael wanted it. In the foundation's office, there is a photograph. Michael Jackson kneeling next to a child in a wheelchair, both of them smiling. The caption underneath says 3 words, because nobody did. If this story moved you, remember this. Real kindness doesn't need cameras. Real help doesn't ask for credit. Real love works in silence. Michael Jackson saved over 300 families, and he asked for only one thing in return. Don't tell anyone, but now you know, pass it on.